Guys, welcome back to another episode. I know it's been a long time. I keep saying I'll be consistent, but am I really? But anyway, let's just get into it. So today is Diary of the CEO, favorite notes, as you can see from the title. So let's get into it. So number one, he talked. By the way, guys, this is going to be a long one. So yeah, and don't mind my voice. It's the dust. The dust. It's getting. It got to me. Okay, it got to me, but we're pushing through, getting some vitamin C, took some meds, and I'm good. Anyway, so let's get right into it. So, first of all, he talked about the four pillars of greatness. And number one is the self, the story, the philosophy, and the team. So, those are the four pillars. When he was talking about the self, he talked about the five buckets which needs to be filled in the right order. So, he said, what you know, that's your knowledge. What you can do, your skills. Who you know, your network. What you have, your resources. What the world thinks of you, your reputation. Just amazing 5 points for the self. Next up, he talked about knowledge and skill are your longevity, your foundation, and the clearest predictor of your future. So that was him talking about the self. Next up, I'm just gonna. These are like my favorite points from my favorite notes from his book. So basically, they're either verbatim of what's written in the book, or I summarized what was written in the book. So yeah, next up, this is a note that was written by him. So Dario Lucio, he said, "Those who hoard gold have riches for a moment. Those who hoard knowledge and skills have riches for a lifetime. True prosperity is what you know and what you can do." Next up, law number two. So law number two talks about to matter to master it, you must create an obligation to teach it. Skin in the game. It's a psychological tool to harness if you want to accelerate your learning curve. It raises the stakes of your learning by building up deeper psychological incentives to perform behavior. Humans are more strongly driven by motivation to avoid losses than to pursue gains. The Feynman technique to help us out. If you want to master something, do it publicly. It deals with simplifying an idea and successfully sharing it with others is the path to understand it. Steps. Number one, learn the topic you want to understand thoroughly. Number two, write it down as if you were teaching a child. Number three, share it online, on a blog, or on a medium where you'd get feedback. Number four, review the feedback and if people can explain the concept to you. So these are all techniques from the Feynman technique to help us out. And he then concluded with saying, you don't become a master because you're able to retain knowledge. You become a master when you're able to release it. Law number three, you must never disagree. This law will make you a master at communication, negotiation, conflict resolution, winning arguments, being heard, and changing people's minds. It explains why most of your arguments are never productive. Communication is both the problem and solution for every interpersonal conflict. Then he continued to say, according to Tyler Sharrett, the professor of cognitive neuroscience at the University College in MIT, if you want to keep someone's brain lit and repetitive to your own point of view, you must not start your response with a statement of disagreement like, I disagree or you're wrong. Instead, start with what you have in common, what you agree on, and parts of your argument that you can understand. So basically, when you want someone to agree with you, instead of you saying, "Well, I don't like what you're talking about," what this is, say, "Well, I agree with this part of your statement, and I think that's really helpful because I've actually used this and it's really helped, to be very honest." So law number four, you don't get to choose what you believe. Shara, the same person that talked about these ways of approaching people with our ideas, he talked about there are four factors that determine whether a new piece of evidence will change an existing belief. A, a person's current evidence. B, their confidence in their current evidence. C, their new evidence. D, their confidence in that new evidence. Sharrock concluded that in order to change beliefs, the secret is to go along with how our brain works. Focus on implementing completely new evidence and make sure you've highlighted the incredible positive impact this new will have on them. This new evidence will have on them. Then let's move over. The best. Oh, sorry, guys. The best chance you have of changing a belief, example, a belief in yourself, is by reading self-help books or inspirational quotes or watching motivational videos, but by stepping out of your comfort zone and into a situation where that limiting belief will be confronted head on. OMG, this is so true. No matter how many motivational books you read, no matter how many self-help books you read, the only way to get out of your comfort zone is by actually the only way to actually achieve something or being a better version of yourself is actually leaving your comfort zone, which is something I'm really working on right now. Like, there's so many things I have planned in my head, there's so many goals, and I think sometimes we're scared to actually think of these goals as ours, actually, like, think that we can actually achieve these goals. But you know what? You just have to keep going and keep pushing and believing in ourselves and getting used to being uncomfortable, and then we'll learn and we'll keep moving on. So yeah, then he concluded with a statement from Dale Carnegie. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce the guy's name, but pardon me. He said, "Do the thing you fear and keep doing it. That's the quickest and surest way you get dissolved and to conquer fear." Then Stephen concluded with saying, "Stop telling yourself you're not qualified, good enough, or worthy." Okay, guys, let's continue. Stop telling yourself you're not qualified, good enough, or worthy. Growth happens when you start doing the things you're not qualified to do. I was said by Stephen Bartlett. Law number 5, you must lean into bizarre behavior. When you don't understand, lean in more. When it challenges your intelligence, lean in more. When it makes you feel stupid, lean in more. Leaning out will leave you behind. Don't block people that you don't agree with. Follow more of them. Don't run from ideas that make you uncomfortable. Run towards them. Take no risks will be your biggest risk. If you have to risk failure to succeed, you have to risk heartbreak to love, you have to risk criticism for the applause, you have to risk ordinary to achieve the extraordinary, you have to leave avoiding risk. You're risking missing out on life. Wow, that was amazing. Law number 6, ask, don't tell the question/behavior effect. Questions, unlike statements, elicit an active response. They make people think. Asking is better than telling when it comes to influencing your own or another based on studies. Example, will you recycle is more likely to influence people's behavior than recycle please. If the answer is yes or no, it even works better. Oh, I'm actually going to try and use this. Law number 7, never compromise your self-story. Your self-story and the mental toughness, grit, or resilience that you have is more important than anything for achieving your goals in business and in life. What we believe about ourselves creates our thoughts and feelings. Our thoughts and feelings determine our actions, and our actions create our evidence. Prove to yourself in 1,000 tiny ways at every opportunity you get that you have what it takes to overcome the challenges of life. This is the greatest thing I always tell myself. I always try to make sure I do positive talk to myself because I think sometimes in life, well, personally, I underestimate the things that I'm capable of, and I underestimate myself, but it's something I'm working on. And if this is also you, I always want to tell you that keep pushing, keep working hard, and inshallah everything will be fine, okay? So law number 8, never fight a bad habit. A habit loop has 3 key elements. the cue, the routine, and the reward. The cue is a trigger for habitual behavior. Example, stress. The routine is the habitual behavior. Example, smoking. The reward is the impact of habitual behaviors, the feeling of relief or happiness. If you want to break a habit, get some sleep, as Russell Polderak, a psychology professor at Stanford University, says. You're most likely to do the thing you don't want to do when you're stressed out. Do not take on more than one habit at a time. The move, pressure, restrictions, and strains you put on yourself while trying to make new habits and break old ones, the less chance you have on achieving them, and the more chance you have on e-bounding. Aim to have fewer goals. This increases your likelihood of you completing them. The best way to create a new habit isn't by fighting an old one or depriving yourself of rewards, it's by finding new rewards. But nonetheless, making sure you're rewarding yourself along the way. Law number 9, always prioritize your first foundation. There is no risk, there is no greater form of gratitude than taking care of yourself. Your health is your first foundation. That is so important, guys. Health is wealth. As cheesy as that might sound, but if you're not healthy, you're not gonna like nothing works. Like you're feeling drained, unhappy, feeling like you can't get out of bed. So focus on your health. Focus on making sure you get your steps in, exercise, eat well. Just take care of your body. Your body is your responsibility, and you're you're in charge of what you put in it. So just make sure you're taking care of taking care of her well, okay? Or him, whichever. How your body, okay, then he continues to say, how body is the only vessel you'll use to explore the world, and the only house you can truly ever call home. He's referring to our bodies, which is so right. Like we only got one body, like we don't have any duplicates, so we might as well just make sure we take care of her. Law number 10. Useless absurdity will define you more than useful practicalities. One is known for the most absurd things they do, which says everything about them. Absurdity is for the risk takers, the idiots, and the genius. Normality is ignored, absurdity sells. Law 11. Avoid wallpaper at all costs. How to grab people's attention in everything you write, speak, and produce. For example, YouTube thumbnail. The more animated, threatening, or scary the face of the thumbnail, the more clicks the video will get. While neutral faces, which are more ignored and deemed wallpaper, perform significantly worse in terms of clicks across all the channels. In marketing, any word or phrase that is effective will eventually be exploited, absorbed, and disempowered. Example, Black Friday. Guys, this is actually so true. Like whenever I see like a Black Friday sale, because of just how much people have used the word Black Friday, I just no longer feel anything. Like I'm just like, okay, well, it's just it's just a very very weird thing that if one word is used over and over again, we kind of become just habituated to the word, and it no longer affects us. Like I don't know, maybe it still affects other people, but I just feel like anytime I see a Black Friday sale, I just no longer like get to antsy about it anymore. Okay, let's continue. Call to reciprocity. Reciprocity, a psychological phenomenon that shows people will do something for you if they feel you've done something for them. Wallpaper. So, what is this wallpaper he was talking about earlier on? So, the wallpaper is the overuse of popular terms, phrases, and calls to action to the point that the brain habituates them and tunes them out. Just like how I was saying, how like we no longer like see Black Friday as something important anymore. So what is habituation? Habituation is a phenomenon in which the brain adjusts to repeated stimuli by ignoring or downgrading their significance. So do you know what habituation is? That's what I mean when I say habituation. So repetition is not key. Strong marketing demands an opinion, a response, and an emotion. So in order to be heard, tell stories in an unrepetitive, unfiltered, and unconditional way. Make people feel something either way. Law number 12, you must piss people off. Don't be afraid of don't be afraid of derating people with emotional, bold, or even devised marketing approaches. Triggering an emotional response that engages 20% of your audience and enrages 80% can be more valuable than an approach to which 100% is indifferent. Some people will love you, some people will hate you, some people simply won't care. You will connect with the first two, but not the third. Indifference is the least profitable outcome. Law number 13, shoot your psychological moonshots first. How to create huge perceived value in your customer's mind will shockingly often free superficial changes to your products. So, psychological moonshot is a relatively small investment that drastically improves the perception of something. So this was law number 13 when he was saying shoot your psychological moonshot by making your content perceived as valuable from your customers, and this will create more change in your business than just being basic. So, the five psychological forces: number one, the peak and roll; number two, idleness aversion; number three, operational transparency; number four, uncertainty; number five, the goal gradient effect. So, the peak and roll: number one, two moments that matter the most. We judge and experience according to how it felt at its peak and at its end. Number two, idleness aversion, our need for justifiable business. User lab researched, that's the name of of the the research. Research that people who are busy are happier than people who are idle. So make sure idleness aversion. Number three, operational transparency. Brands should be glass boxes. Number four, uncertainty. It's less psychological stress to know something negative is about to happen than to be left in uncertainty. Example, 15 minutes delay instead of delay. The goal gradient effect. Speeding up near the finish line. What motivates us most is how close we are to achieving a goal. We walk faster the closer we are to succeed. Do not wage a war on reality. Invest in shaping perceptions. Our truth is not what we see. Our truth is in the story we choose to believe. Law number 14. Friction can create value. Example, Red Bull and cake mix. Interesting. Law number 15. The frame matters more than the picture. The way a product is presented to consumers drastically affects the perception of its value. The way something is packaged has a big impact on how it's received. How something framed affects consumers' perceptions and value the brand. Framing is knowing how to present your product to through the most compelling lens. Law number 16. Use Goldilocks to your advantage. The Goldilocks effect is a type of anchoring. So, what is this anchoring? Anchoring is a cognitive bias where individuals rely too heavily on seemingly irrelevant information when making decisions. In the context of Goldilocks effect, by preventing two extreme options, next option, you're hoping to solve, you make the middle option more attractive. Oh, interesting. Just like You have the economy ticket is 800, the business class ticket is 2000, and the first class ticket is always 8,000. So majority of the time we'll always go for the business because we feel like, well then, if the business is 2000, it's actually a psychological thing that the airline is using us, because majority of the time you want to go for a business class if you can afford it, because the economy take like the first class is just way out of range, like 8,000. So this is what he was talking about, the Goldilocks effect, that we should use it to our advantage, that we should put two extreme options next to the option you're hoping to solve. So majority of the time, if you're he actually did if you read his book, he gave an example of how his real estate was it an advice, I don't know what you call them, but he used that on him when he was trying to sell him a property, and he asked the real estate person, did you just use the Goldilocks effect on me? And it was just so funny. But yeah, you should definitely read the book. This is just like a summary of it, and honestly it's one of my favorite reads this year, and definitely recommend. Okay, law number 17. Let them try and they will buy. It's I'm so sorry. It reveals the easiest way to get someone to love a product instantly. In the endowment effect, individuals tend to be much more attached to items they believe they own than they are to similar objects they don't possess. So creating your product into customers' hands remains an incredible powerful tool for salespeople, marketers, and brands. Law number 18. Fight for the first 5 seconds. In marketing, business, or sales, your success depends on just 5 seconds. When a storyteller understands that absolutely nobody cares about them as much as they care about themselves, they tell captivating, emotional, punchy stories that leaves you no choice but to commit your undivided attention to every word they say. When you're thinking about storytelling, cater to your most uninterested customer first. This is so true. I don't know if you guys have watched this YouTuber. His name is Tayo Aina. He's a travel blogger. Oh, not travel blogger. He's a travel YouTuber, and his videos. Once you even start the video, you're just so hooked. Like, he takes us around the world, and you actually feel like you're like part of the video. You actually feel like you experience this moments with him, and he's just very good at storytelling and bringing the countries he visits to life. Like, it's just amazing too. You guys should definitely check him out. He's TAYOAINA, Tayo Aina. He's a Nigerian YouTuber, by the way. Law number 19. You must sweat the small stuff. Your success is defined by your attitude towards the small stuff. The easiest way to do big things is by focusing on small things. The Kaizen philosophy. It's not about making big leaps towards, but rather making small things better in smaller ways everywhere you can on a daily basis. This philosophy was used by Toyota. Example: Toyota said collected suggestions from factory workers, increasing the size of the water bottles to better hydrate employees, lowering shelves for easy access to tools, making the font and safety warning just 1 point size bigger to reduce accidents. The Kaizen philosophy says you must create a standard, make sure everybody meets the standards, ask everyone to find ways to improve the standard, repeat the process, and if you don't care about the tiny details, you produce bad work, because good work is a accumulation of hundreds of tiny details. The world's most successful people always sweat the small stuff. Concluded by Stephen Bartlett. Law number 20. A small miss now creates a big miss later. If we are to be successful, we all need to make the necessary small ritual, access our course, and make the necessary small adjustments as frequent as possible in all aspects of our lives. The Kaizen philosophy isn't just about business effectiveness or improvement, it's about continuously ensuring you're on the right path and heading to the destination that you intend to, want to, and desire to visit. The smallest seeds of today's negligence will bloom into tomorrow's biggest regrets. Law number 21. You must outfail the competition. The higher your failure rate, the higher your chance of success. 5 principles to outfail the competition. Number 1. Remove bureaucracy. Make project teams as small as they can possibly be. Give them more authority, treat, and resources when making decisions, and to act back all sign-off processes. Fix the incentives. Words need evidence, incentives, and examples to bring them to life. Human behavior is not driven by platitudes, slogans, and wishful thinking. Number 3, promote and fire. The people at the highest point in the company need to be the most avid disciples of your cultural values. Remove individuals from the teams that stand in the way of the flow of the new idea, fast failure, and experimentation. Measure accurately. Number 4, measure accurately. Too many employees don't step forward with new ideas because they are unclear of the process they should follow. Education is the easiest way to remove operational psychological friction. Number 5, share the failure. It's crucial to disseminate the details of each failed hypothesis, experiments, and outcome. It prevents the duplication of unsuccessful efforts, stimulates the development of new ideas, and fosters a culture of continuous experimentation. Failure equals feedback. Feedback equals knowledge. Knowledge equals power. Failure gives you power. Law number 22. You must become a plan A thinker. Your plan B in life might just be the biggest hurdle to success of your plan A. Wow. The only way to go forward is because you can't go back. When the human mind excludes all other possibilities and fixates on a single path, that path draws in every valuable ounce of your passion, perseverance, and power, leaving no room for hesitation or deviation. The first step before everybody else in the world believes it is you have to believe it. There's no reason to have plan B because it distracts from plan A. So this was said by Will Smith. Having a backup plan, or even considering one, has shown to potentially hinder your performance by making you less driven to hit your primary goal. Law number 23. Don't be an ostrich. Act like a lion, not an ostrich. The ostrich effect is burying its head in the sand to hide from the threat. Humans are hardwired to avoid discomfort. Pain in every walk of life is unavoidable, but the pain that we create by trying to avoid pain is avoidable. And something is unresolved because we're choosing to bury our head in the sand, it becomes toxic, contagious, and poisonous to those around us and inflicts more collateral damage with every day it remains unaddressed. The 4-step approach to dealing with discomfort and avoid procrastination. Number 1, admit to yourself something isn't right. Number 2, review yourself, inspect your feelings, behaviors, and emotions. Number 3, speak your truth. Speak of the emotions that grip you. Number 4, seek the truth. Listen to understand. Avoiding uncomfortable realities and difficult conversation is unhelpful. We must recognize what isn't, assess what we can do about it, share our findings, and get to the truth, however challenging it might be. Law number 24. You must make pressure your privilege. Pressure is a privilege. It only comes to those that, I'll say that again. Pressure is a privilege. It only comes to those that earn it. This was said by Billie Jean King. Now, the three-step approach on how to make pressure your privilege. Number one, see it. Be aware of the stress. Number two, share it. Share your stressor with a supportive community. Changes the psychological impact of stress. Number three, frame it. Recognize it and recognize the positive role pressure plays and the powerful signal it represents. Number four, use it. When under pressure, stress can help you succeed to push you to perform both mentally and physically. Comfortable and easy are short-term friends, but long-term enemies. If you're looking for growth, choose the challenge. And just to add on to this, I know that not everybody has a supportive community around them, and even if you don't have one, I don't think it's the even if you don't have like someone to a community to stress or to actually relieve your stress. Journal, journal. Journaling is the greatest stress relief. Like, I can't even explain just how amazing journaling is, but just journal. And if you're a religious person, just pray. Because in the end, the all knowing, all seeing, He's always there for us. So just pray if you're a religious person. And even if you're not a religious person, you can always journal. And yeah, that's just my own 2 cents on that. Okay, let's continue. Law number 25. Guys, we're almost there. We're almost to the end. The power of negative manifestation. That's law number 25. A pivotal question to ask yourself is, why will this idea fail? Most startups fail because majority overestimate the prospects and underestimate the risks. By posing this question, we encourage a critical thinking that unveils risks and challenges often obscured by human biases. Law number 26. Your skills are worthless, but your context is valuable. People assess the worth of your skill based on how much value they believe it can generate for them. The market you decide to sell your skill will determine how much you get paid for more than they themselves. Example, technical and medical writers in the engineering and biotech sectors earn higher salaries than writers in the media and publishing industries. To be considered the best in your industry, you don't need to be the best at any one thing. You need to be good at a variety of complementary and rare skills that your industry values and your competitors lack. Law number 27. The discipline equation. Death, time, discipline. The allocation of your time will determine if you succeed or fail in your life's work. The discipline equation. Your perceived value of achieving the goal, how psychological rewarding and engaging the process of pursuing the goal is, how psychologically costly and disengaging the process of pursuing the goal is. Discipline equals the value of the goal plus the reward of the pursuit minus the cost of the pursuit. We don't have to be smarter than the rest. We have to be more disciplined than the rest. This was said by Warren Buffett. Law number 28. Ask who, not how. Your ego will insist that you do. Your potential will insist that you delegate. Law number 29. Create a cult mentality. A cult-like mentality and cult-like commitment from staff can be incredibly useful in the beginning stages of a startup. It can determine the fortune and generate the passion required to launch a new business. Law number 30, if the culture is strong, people become like the culture. If the culture is weak, the culture will become like the new people. Law number 31. Law number 30 also adds the three bars of building great teams: fire, hire, and train. Law number 31, leverage the power of progress. And law number 32, you must be consistent. Guys, we have finally gotten to the end. There are actually 3 laws that he talked about. 33 laws that he talked about. I wrote 32. I'm not sure why I didn't write the last one. I probably just missed it out. But yeah, guys, that is all I have for you today. If you did get to the end of this video, thank you so much. And if you did actually learn something from this, because I definitely got lots of insights and learned so much from just reading the book. So I definitely encourage you guys to definitely get the book. It's amazing. It's called Diary of a CEO. 33. What's it called? Let me just get the exact name, because he has 2 books. So this book, and he's actually writing a new book. So this particular one is called The 33 Laws of Business and Life. One of my favorites. I will definitely read his first book. I haven't yet read it, but I'll definitely read it. Also, you should definitely check out his podcast. It's called Diary of a CEO. It's by Stephen Bartlett. Also, oh my god, guys, it's the way I'm advocating for him. I just really learned so much from Stephen Bartlett, and the videos he puts out, his guests, they're just amazing. Just his mindset and everything is just very encouraging. And I think one thing I really am trying to work on, like I said earlier, is just telling myself I can achieve the things I want to achieve and actually believing that I can. Because if I don't believe in it, it's not gonna work out. So yeah, that's it, guys. If you did find this video useful, please make sure to leave a thumbs up. If you think your friends are gonna benefit from the video, make sure you forward it to them. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe and put that notification on. Guess what, guys? The next video that's gonna come out, it's gonna be a video, not an audio. And yeah, put your notifications on to see what it is. And yeah, it's one of the cafes I really wanted to visit, and I finally was able to from my schedule. And yeah, just stay tuned. I'm not gonna give out too much details. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. I am trying to be consistent. I keep saying this, but we'll see how it goes. All right, then, bye guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you.